ladies and gentlemen, so this is kind of like a urgent announcement type deal. Yesterday, Peps and I filmed a normal kind of video game talk at like 2 a.m. while Jack was asleep. And so today, Jack and I are here to do a special kind of bonus episode, but more so just like a breaking news type episode. Because as you can see by both my background and Jack's background, there's some new games that are coming because we just literally about 3 minutes ago finished watching the Sony PS5 press conference type situation where they showed the new PS5, a bunch of new games. And a while ago, Xbox did that, but although we have this video game podcast, the three people that are involved in the video game podcast are not Xbox people. We're all PlayStation people. So we want to cover what we like. I have Xboxes, but that's not my console. I just have them because I like to have the consoles. But yeah, all three of us are mainly PlayStation guys. So with the Xbox, we'll still cover stuff like that. But when it comes to the PlayStation, today was a really big day for us guys in the Galaxy here. So yeah, kicking off, we had this PlayStation conference for the PS5. Started off with what we thought was going to be a bang. Jack and I had heart attacks for a second because we saw the Rockstar logo. Legitimately, it went from the stay tuned, like we're starting soon, to black screen Rockstar logo. Jack and I were like, whoa,
We thought
like,
it was going to be the best start to any
we
video game
thought the
conference
start
ever. Like,
was going to have GTA 6, and we were so disappointed because it was actually
we heard Michael's voice and then we said, no!
Yeah, we found out it was just GTA 5, which obviously GTA 5 has been out for 7 years, but they are porting GTA 5. I don't want to say porting because they're probably going to make some changes and add some stuff, but they're bringing GTA 5 to the PS5, which is interesting because I don't think any game has gone from the PS3 to the PS4 to the PS5 in a singular game. Everything is normally multiple different games. It's a franchise that'll bring a game to the PS2, then the PS3, then the PS4, then the PS5 type deal. But GTA 5, I think, may be the only game that legitimately is going from the beginning of being on
console.
Yeah, the same game going from the PS3 to the PS4 to now the PS5. It said it's enhanced and whatnot, so I'm assuming obviously it's going to look way better. It's probably going to look beautiful. And I'm more than sure when we have PS5s, we'll have GTA 5.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they said it's enhanced, so we're hoping that when it comes to that they're going to add stuff to the game. I don't think they're necessarily going to add like a new thing to like the actual story mode. Like they're not going to add new missions and stuff, but they'll probably add, like when it went from the PS3 to the PS4 and the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, they added first person mode, which was kind of a whole new way to play the game. And they added some other things, some new clothing, a bunch of new like radio stations. So we would hope that they're not just making it look better and then just bringing the same game over. Hopefully they're doing what they did with the PS4 and they're putting it into the PS5, but they're adding new radio stations, some new clothing, some new stuff, so that we're not still just playing the same old game. It just looks better. But Jack,
I hope that I would love it if I could walk around the casino and not play at 15 frames per second.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. I love that part. But it looks like everything's coming back. Definitely probably gonna probably not gonna replay the story. I've played it twice already. I don't really see a need to play it a third time. But I'll definitely probably play it. I'll probably mostly be playing the next game we're gonna talk about.
Yeah. So but when it comes to GTA, I've played that story so many times, but it's like I never want to. I think I played it one time, and then so what happened to me, which is a story that Jack knows. I played it on the PS3, and then something happened to where my story mode progression, just like the data got corrupted. So after like 3 months of procrastinating, I just played through it again. Then it got the PS4, and I ended up playing it again. So I've played it like 3 times, maybe 4, because I may have played it again on the PS4. So when it comes to the PS5, I'm not going to want to play it again, but I'll probably end up playing the story mode again. Just so I hated for the 3 months that like I was just procrastinating playing again on the PS3. I hated every time I went to go play GTA Online, I had to deal with that stupid like Trevor throwing the lady to the ground in like the bank thing. So I'll probably play through the story mode again just so I don't have to deal with that situation again.
If I play the story, I'm just gonna play that mission, and then once we get to Los Angeles, just be like online only. Don't care anymore.
Yeah. But to close that out, they did announce that. Well, they announced that for anybody that buys the PS5, you get GTA Online for free, which is confusing to me because GTA Online is free. So I don't know if that means legitimate GT Online, like you don't have to own Grand Theft Auto to play the game. Maybe that's what that means. Or when they say free, maybe they mean like in a sense of they're going to give you a bunch of stuff, so you're pretty much playing through the actual having everything. I don't know. Hopefully they give you the ability, which I'm more sure they will, to port your character over to from the PS4, PS5, like they did with the PS2, the PS4. Because I'm not going to want to start a new character. Obviously, I've had this character for 7 years. This character has everything in the game. Jack's character has almost everything in the game. It's like we're not going to want to start over, especially if they're going to end up announcing GTA 6 in a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving forward. Oh, one more thing. They also announced if you have PlayStation Plus and you're on the PS4, every month in GTA Online leading up to the release date of the PS5, you will get a free in-game $1,000,000 for GTA Online. So that's really cool. So even if you don't necessarily play the game anymore, make sure you log on every month and get your $1,000,000 because it's kind of like a PlayStation Plus free game thing where we say just get the game even if you don't care. Same thing with that. It's going to be $1,000,000 that's in your account that you even if you don't play it, it's still in your account. So make sure you log on and get your free $1,000,000 each month.
Yeah.
But now, now moving forward to the next game that was announced, and again, when it comes to this conference, confusingly enough, we're PS5 guys, or PS4 guys, and whatnot, PlayStation guys. I'm sorry, but there were not a lot of games that we actually were very hyped for.
No.
So moving to the next game that we were hyped for, which was also still pretty early into the conference, is the game that I have in the background here, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Which,
Yes.
oh my gosh, that was a nice little payoff for us having a heart attack in the beginning and then being let down. We had a heart attack this time, but we were excited to have the heart attack. We were holding our chests, being like, "Let's go!" So yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales. We got a trailer, not necessarily even really a trailer, more so a teaser trailer, just a little couple seconds to show you what this is. I didn't. You said that Peter Parker. Obviously, we didn't know if he was in the game because of the fact that it's Miles Morales. But you said the voiceover.
Yeah.
Show is,
Yeah, the voiceover in the beginning was Peter Parker, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be back in the game.
and I'm more sure he kind of was his mentor anyway. So I'm more sure even if you don't play as Peter, he'll be in the game as like an NPC and whatnot. And I was wondering too if this is technically Spider-Man 2 or if this is going to be like kind of its own game in that universe, which we have to wait and see, I guess, to get more information on if this is confirmed to be the Spider-Man 2 that we knew was coming, or if this is going to be its own game where you play as Miles and it's still.
You're kind of frozen.
Oh. Okay, yeah, we don't know what happened there. Something happened with our internet situation. But yeah, we don't know technically if this is going to be the Spider-Man 2 that we knew was coming, or if this is its own game in the universe, which I would like it to be its own game in the universe, and we get an actual Spider-Man 2 where you play and continue Peter's story. So that's what I'm hoping for, is that this is its own thing, that it's Miles' story and you're still in that universe, but it's his own story. And then later down the line, maybe next year, next fall or something like that, we get the actual Spider-Man 2. But if this is Spider-Man 2, I'm also okay with that. It's still this is still cool with me. We both loved the first Spider-Man PS4. You are currently doing your playthrough on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Of Spider-Man PS4. So yeah, like I'm really excited for this. Again, we didn't get too much information. We got some couple seconds of footage of Miles beating some people up, him taking the mask off, standing on a building, and it's like raining. So we don't have too much. We just know that it's Spider-Man. It's Miles Morales, Spider-Man in that PS4 universe, whether it's Spider-Man 2 or it's its own thing. And it's coming this year. It's coming. I don't know if it says it doesn't.
No, it's coming like holidays, somewhere around like December, November, probably somewhere around there.
Yeah, so it's coming this year for the holidays with the launch. Probably be a day one launch for the PS5, I would imagine. This is gonna probably be the big ticket game that everybody goes to get day one. This along with probably NBA 2K21. So yeah, moving forward, obviously they announced NBA 2K21. Neither of us are necessarily NBA fans, but Peps is a big NBA fan. So as soon as that happens, I texted him and said, hey, they announced NBA 2K21. It looked pretty good. It looked nice. The trailer was different and cool. It wasn't just a normal NBA trailer. It was the dude in the gym by himself. So yeah, NBA coming, which makes sense. Normally, like with the PS4, they had a bunch of sports games because it's easier. It's easier to make those games, I guess, on a newer console that they don't know what they can do with, so they know they can make those games instead of trying to make a huge game. So it makes sense that NBA and there's probably going to be like a FIFA and an MLB because those games normally come out every year in the fall anyways. So yeah, it would make sense that that would be on PS5. So I'm more sure some of those games will also be announced. Jack, what's next? You want to talk about Sackman over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sackboy. A big adventure just got released as well. With all the other games that was announced. I'm a Little Big Planet fan. I've played most of the games, if not all of them, pretty much. Little Big Planet 2 being my favorite. That one's just such a classic for me. The story mode, like being able to play with my sister and all of that, being able to play with like friends down the street and stuff. All like the crazy like levels people can come up with.
Okay.
I don't know if any of like the level creation stuff is going to be coming with this because this just looks like a whole like single player story game to me. But
Mm.
still, I think they've done good with the
Well,
story so far.
actually, from what I saw and what you saw, it actually doesn't look like a single player story. It looks like it's kind of a
Yeah, there's
multiplayer story.
multiplayer elements in there too.
Yeah, because it looked like there was a bunch of different characters in those missions with Sack fuck over there.
Sackboy.
Um, yeah, I've never played Little Big Planet. It's not necessarily my type of game, but Jack, I know this has always been a big game for you. So obviously this will be something you scoop right away once you get a PS5 for sure.
Absolutely.
How different did it look than the other games?
Pretty different. I mean, usually like the mainline Little Big Planets, they're like side scrolling and stuff like that. But this one looks like a little more freeform kind of.
Yeah.
Not exactly side scrolling, but it was like different ways you can move around, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, which makes sense. I did like how in some of the Little Big Planet games they had a lot of skins for like Marvel characters and stuff like that. I think like, they had a bunch of different actual character skins. So I always love when they do stuff like that in video games. So I'm more sure they'll probably do the same thing here. Do some PS5 exclusive S skins of like Kratos and maybe Miles Morales, stuff like that.
Nathan
So
Drake, stuff like that.
yeah, that'll be cool. Um, what is next? What's on your mind?
What was that one snack game you were getting a little
Oh,
excited about? What
yeah.
was that
So
about?
there was this game called like Bug Snacks or something like that. Which is really, from what me and Jack gathered, it's actually just PlayStation's version of Animal Crossing.
But with
Um,
food.
but with food. So like all the bugs on the island are food. So it's like a snake, but it's like a sub. So I was getting kind of hyped because I was like, this looks kind of cool. It's a cool concept. It's probably more not something you're totally not used to because it's probably a lot like Animal Crossing. I almost said Animal Planet. Yeah, so it's probably a lot like Animal Crossing. So I might actually have to pick that up just to see how that goes.
And it looks like with like all the food you can pick up too, it's like that can help you like customize your character into all sorts of food stuff. So that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. And there was houses and villages and stuff. There was a lot of cats for some reason in this conference.
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 cats.
It felt like every other game they showed there was a different type of cat, whether it was a robot cat or a projected cat or an actual cat. We were just very confused on
Cats
what was going on.
you could see the organs of and shit.
Yeah, there was one cat. The first cat I think was
in that robot world.
Yeah, it's actually a game where I think you legitimately play as the cat, and like it looked like as if you were a cat in Cyberpunk's world, like running around in Cyberpunk's world. I don't think either of us will be picking up any of those games that are associated with cats.
No.
Jack and I are not cat people; we're dog people, and also those games just like I have no. Even if it was a dog, I have no want to play as a dog or a cat running around in a city. I'd rather just play as a human or an alien or something like that. More of a
like there was a bunch of cool robots walking around. I would have loved to play as one of those.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there was Horizon Wild West or something like that, which is I know the first game was a big game. Again, that's not Jack and I have discovered that when we were listening and watching this conference that Jack and I are actually kind of picky gamers. We're big PlayStation guys, but when it comes to games that I was like, Jack, these are a lot of big games that neither you or I care about. So I think we're picky gamers, and he agreed.
We were really like near the end of the stream. We're just like, we just want something.
Yeah.
Something good.
Yeah, the only thing really big that we both agreed on that we really were excited for is Spider-Man, pretty much. And everything else, there was a couple for me. There's a couple that were just for you. But yeah, most of the stuff that was showed we didn't really care about, which not even saying that we don't care about it. It's just we don't even know too much about it. You know what I'm saying? And it all looked like either some things we didn't care about. Maybe it's a franchise like the Horizon Zero Dawn franchise that we don't care about, or new games that we just don't know anything about that for all we know in 2 years could be one of our favorite games of all time, that we have no want to play, but somehow we play and we love it. So we can't really judge the situation because we don't necessarily know too much about a lot because most of everything that was shown was trailers. It was very few um, actual games that showed like trailers and then cut to like the producers of the game and then they were like, and
Gameplay.
here's some gameplay, and then they showed gameplay. Like
The
there wasn't
only one
a lot
I
of actual
remembered
gameplay.
was just the racing game, like at the beginning. I think
Yeah,
it was like Gran Turismo or something like that. Actually
yeah.
having like a bunch of gameplay for it.
Which for those that are racing fans, Gran Turismo has a new game coming.
Mhm.
There was a game, something All Stars that looked like Rocket League, but on like steroids.
Yeah.
Like you had like actual combat between the people that were driving the cars and then car combat itself.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know what that's about. What else? There was yeah, Horizon Wild
There
something.
was
I
that
forgot.
weird Tokyo game too.
Yeah,
There was a few weird games this
there
stream.
was a weird game that was based in Tokyo where like the character is seeing things.
You fight off Slenderman.
You have like the Force or something. Yeah, very
It's
weird.
weird shit.
There was a game that kind of looked like Borderlands slash Wolfenstein, where like you're playing as a character who they kind of broke kayfabe because in most games when you die you respawn like kind of in a sense back in time, although it's not focused on it. You're back in time at like the last checkpoint. So they're kind of breaking like the kayfabe for the wrestling people.
Hmm.
By having this game, when you die, you go back in time and you respawn, which you do normally in a video game anyways. But they're marketing this as if this is something that is not in video games. But yeah, you play as this guy who's like an assassin who's trying to kill these people in like these dog masks. And if you die, you go back in time and respawn. But then at the same time, you have maybe you have like other assassins trying to kill you. So I don't know if that's NPCs or if that's maybe an online type thing and other players are playing as them trying to
Maybe.
kill you. Like it, I don't know. And again, we don't know too much about these games, so we're really trying our best to go off of what we do know. Um, and a lot of games, in a sense, to me, looked very similar. There was a lot of games that looked kind of similar. But yeah, for us, those were the big ones. Hitman. I'm not like the biggest Hitman fan, but I played I think the last one that was on the PS3. Um, so I'll probably end up picking up Hitman 3, just to play it. A new Resident Evil game, which
Hmm.
we're not big Resident Evil guys, but I know that's huge. That's one of the biggest game franchises of all time. Um, which to me, it kind of looked like a very big stretch from the other Resident Evil games.
Yeah, it's like definitely like more historic or something like that. It
Yeah.
has like those like weird village type people.
And there was like witches and stuff. Whereas normal Resident Evil, there's like the nurses with the sewn faces and the dude with the giant sword. Didn't see any of that in there. Yeah, it seemed very, very like back kind of folklore time with
Hmm.
witches and
Werewolves
werewolves
and
and
stuff
stuff like
like
that.
that.
So mythical kind of back in time. So that'll be interesting for Resident Evil fans. That could go one of two ways. That could be like the best game, or that could be like the game nobody wants to talk about in the Resident Evil franchise. You know,
Hmm.
because it's just such a big leap from where everything else is. Um, I'm trying to
There
think
was
of
that
some other
there was
games,
that
some other
one
big
weird
games.
game where you played as like both like a warrior and then also just like an old man in the like in the bathtub or on
Yes,
the toilet.
you played as Count Dooku apparently, the old man who was just living his life. Which, and then it was cutting between this old man like taking a shit on the toilet,
And
and
then
then it
you
would
going to
cut
fight
to
a
this.
dragon.
Yeah, then
Like
you cut to this warrior fighting a dragon. So from what I gathered in the trailer, and Jack agreed, it looked like maybe you're playing as the old man who's imagining what he wished his life was like. Like everybody in their head has dreams or thoughts of like being a cool like warrior or a Star Wars character or something like that. So maybe you're playing as this old man who is wishing his life would have been like that, where he was on great adventures fighting dragons and stuff. That's what I took from the situation. But in reality, he's just sleeping. You know. Um, what else? What else was there?
uh other games.
Yeah, other games. Again, there was a lot of games that kind of looked similar and didn't look very enticing to us because apparently we're picky gamers.
Hmm.
So that kind of covers all the games. Now, before we wrap it up, obviously, the biggest part was the actual console. I'm
It
pretty
looked good.
sure. I think we knew what the controller looked like. I don't think they
Yeah,
revealed
we
the
did.
controller. The
Hmm.
controller got revealed a while ago, and it looked pretty cool to me. And don't tell me if you don't agree, but to me, the controller and the console also they both kind of look more like Xboxes than they actually did PlayStations.
Kind of, I guess. I could see where you're coming from, but I don't know. I think it looks good. I think it looks
Well,
original. I think it looks sick.
I think it looks great, and not to be like, yeah, it's an Xbox ripoff or anything. I just when I looked at the controller, at least I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a white version of like an Xbox One type deal. But yeah, the controller really looked good. The PlayStation. I got it stuck in my head now. The PlayStation 5 they revealed at the end. That was the last thing they showed. That looked great. That looked really good. And it was a very big leap from where the others are. The PlayStation 1 was obviously more of a silver white-esque console, but then after that, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, and even the PSP and PS Vitas, they were all black with like silver as like the secondary color. The shapes were all kind of similar. The PS2 was kind of its own thing. It was like a block in a sense, but the PS3 and the PS4 didn't really go too far from each other. One was more curved and one was more flat, but they were still very similar. I guess I would say.
The
But the
PS2 is
PS5,
like a block. The PS3 is like a round block, and the PS4 is like a diagonal block.
yeah, yeah. And the PS5 is not really a block at all. It's really
Yeah.
its own thing. It looked like a
It looks like a tower.
exactly like if you were
Yeah.
watching a movie or playing a video game and like you're going to find the final boss. It looked like that was the tower he was in at like the final boss.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because that, you think of games when you think of that. But yeah, it looked like a really cool tower. I don't have it up, or else I would do share screen real fast. But I'll probably post it on the social media for anybody that hasn't seen it. And anybody that hasn't seen it, you must be living on under a rock, because when I checked Twitter in between watching that and coming on here, Twitter was all just the PS5, the console, and the controller. Which, interesting enough, the console is really actually not the only console they showed today, technically.
Yeah.
Because they showed the PS5, which is the normal PS5, but then they introduced something new. Nice invisible water.
Yep. Gotta love it.
They introduced something new, which was I don't think any like system has done this yet. They introduced the PS5 Digital Edition, which in reality, again, we don't have all the like stuff on it. We don't know what is different from that and the normal PS5, other than the fact that the Digital Edition has no disc port. Obviously, from Digital Edition, you can kind of understand that you can't use discs. There's no disc port to put the discs in. It's all digital, so the only way to play games on there is by buying them on the PS Store or getting the code on Amazon or something like that. So that was really the only difference. I'm more than sure there's some sort of difference as to what there is, because in reality, what would be the purpose of making a whole console just without a DVD port? So I'm more than sure there's some sort of difference. Maybe they had, now that they don't have the port, they had more room to put some better graphics card in there or something like that. I'm more than sure there's something more than just not having that port in there. But yeah, so they introduced the Digital Edition, which is all just for digital games with no port, and then the normal edition, which it has the disc port. You can put discs in, or I'm more than sure you can go on and get PlayStation Store digital games or whatever. So yeah, but other than that, they weren't different consoles. They look exactly the same. It's just one doesn't have a slit in it, for the discs. So
I mean, it looks better because it's like more even now or proportional on the sides, but like that's pretty much
and
the only upside to it.
Again, when we find out more actual news on what might be different and stuff, we'll cover it on the podcast if we can. If it's like some crazy processing situation that none of us know about, then we'll be like, yeah, there is something different, but we don't know. We can't really explain it.
Tech stuff.
Yeah, we're not tech guys like that. But yeah, overall, I thought little disappointed with the games, but again, apparently we're picky gamers. So if I had it my way, I would have got Spider-Man, and I would have got GTA 6 announced, and GTA 5 announcement about that coming to PS5, and Saints Row, and like a Skate 4. I would have had everything I wanted, but obviously they're trying to appeal to everybody. So we got our thrills out of it with Spider-Man, you with Sackboy. Pretty hyped that GTA 5 is coming. Again, would have wished it was GTA 6, but still hyped that that's coming over, and we will have a GTA. I'm unsure that'll be a day one launch as well. So we'll have a GTA to play on the new consoles. So yeah, I'm more than sure there was other people that didn't care about Spider-Man, but they were super excited about Horizon Zero Dawn or Hitman or one of those smaller games. But yeah, Jack, what's your final thoughts?
I'm pretty excited for it. I think it looks good. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick it up by the end of the year. We'll have to see what happens with that. But definitely Spider-Man's probably gonna be the number one game I'm gonna go for come the release of the console. Just looks so good.
I mean, yeah, that I think for me, unless they announce something big from now until like October or something like that,
like
that
Saints Row 5 or something like that.
yeah, or GTA 6. But even
Yeah.
then, those games won't even be out day one. I
Hmm.
think all the games that'll be out day one for the most part are the ones they announced today. That said day one. Some of them said other later date or 2021. One of them said 2022, and we just kind of laughed and we were like, yeah, everybody's gonna forget about that game after this is over. Um, but yeah, other than maybe a few other smaller games or sports games, there's probably Spider-Man is probably the biggest game that'll be out day one. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm more than sure I won't be able to pick it up day one because I'm one broke boy. But luckily, I will probably end up getting it not too far after day one because luckily my father. I've had the privilege of my father owning a pawn shop, and everybody seems to go out day one, buy a PlayStation, then try and sell it to him at the pawn shop to get some good money, and he'll take it, and then I'll take it. And so I normally have the system maybe a couple months after it comes out or something like that. So I probably won't have it too far off of when it actually comes out, but I'm more sure it won't be day one. But yeah, I think with that said, we enjoyed it overall. And when we get more news on the games or the console itself, other than what it looks like and what the games look like, we'll obviously cover it on the actual podcast. But for those that watched or listened to this, we appreciate it. We appreciate the support. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and give us a like. Check out all of our other stuff because now we are more than a podcast. We're uploading gameplay videos. We're uploading vlogs. Jack and I both have different gameplay videos going on. Peps just did like a Snapchat vlog. He went to Universal Studios and Snapchatted it, and I put it all together into a video. So yeah, make sure you check those out. If you're on Spotify, please give us a follow, a like, a rating, all that stuff so we can keep doing this and keep having fun. And yeah, I'm Kyle Kidman, Kyle Schneider, whatever you want to call me.
I'm Jack.
And he's
That's
just
it.
Jack. Just Jack. And yeah, we
Just Jack.
appreciate you listening and watching to this bonus episode, this breaking news bonus episode, and we will see you next time.